Is Linux gay? LGBTQ seems to be a popular topic in the Linux community lately, and some people have even made their own LGBTQ themes for Linux. One even went as far as to create a Debian Linux distro for lesbians. It's called Lesbian instead of Debian. There is also an Ubuntu logo in the style of a transgender flag, so some Linux users are probably gay, trans, bisexual, and lesbian, though that makes up a small minority of Linux users. But since Linux is open to all types of people, anyone can use it, and if one really wanted to make a distro with LGBTQ vibes, then they can do that without any problems whatsoever. And I have noticed that there isn't any real Linux distro with LGBTQ vibes in it, aside the lesbian edition of Debian, but Linux does attract people who are on the LGBTQ spectrum, and this means that some Linux users would want a distro that carries the LGBTQ theme. And even though no real LGBTQ distros exist, that doesn't mean you cannot make your own. All you have to do is download the LGBTQ flag as an image, set it as the background, and perhaps you could change the colors of the icons to make it more suitable for your LGBTQ theme. Linux is not gay, nor is it transgender, bisexual, lesbian, homophobic, etc., etc., etc. That's like saying Linux is a homicidal maniac. Are you fucking crazy? Linux is just a kernel, and if a homicidal maniac gets his or her hands on Linux, then so what? Who cares? That does not make Linux a homicidal maniac. Does Nazi Germany using Linux make Linux a Nazi, or neo-Nazi? No, it does not. Does using Linux in a genocide make Linux a genocidal maniac? Absolutely not. Does a gay person making his own gay Linux distro make Linux gay? No fucking way on God's green earth does using Linux make it something. So the same thing applies to LGBTQ and Linux. Just because some Linux users are gay, lesbian, trans, or bisexual, does not mean that Linux is representative of LGBTQ, nor does it make Linux itself gay, lesbian, trans, or bisexual. And if there is one thing that really pisses me off with the Linux community, is how Linux people are constantly trying to bring their gender, politics, identity, and other non-tech issues into the world of operating systems and technology. Honestly speaking, if your main concern with Linux is Linux being gay, I think you need to stay off of the internet for a while and touch some grass, because your brain has been rotted by the internet hate machine, which spreads lies, misinformation and disinformation, as well as propaganda and hatred, non-stop. Yet all you seem to care about is an operating system waving a colorful flag. What kind of a low bar have we hit? If your main concern is Linux being LGBTQ, you have some serious learning to do, so go back to school for another 7 years, and then maybe you will learn why it is not appropriate to ascribe human characteristics to computers and technology. A computer is like a rock, it has no feelings, it has no gender, no identity, no political beliefs, no nothing. All a computer has is its motherfucking hardware, a case, a keyboard, a monitor, and a mouse. That's it. There's nothing more to it. I'm sure people will think I am shitting on Linux, but I am not bashing Linux or shitting on it. I am stating a goddamn motherfucking fact. Linux is not LGBTQ, it is not gay, it is not trans, it's not any of this bullshit. Linux is just a kernel, and that's all I have to say about that. People need to wake up and realize that the world does not revolve around Linux and LGBTQ. There are far more important things to discuss in life than operating systems being gay, woke, politically correct, etc. And as I said earlier, if your main concern with Linux is LGBTQ, then get off the internet for a while and go and touch some fucking grass, because I think you're too worried about Linux having gender issues or political problems, when nothing could be further from the goddamn truth. There's nothing political or human-like about computers. Computers are there to be used by humans, and are built by humans. If computers had genders and political beliefs, then I don't think we would be using them. If anything, a computer that's self-aware might want to make humanity go extinct. If you don't believe me, go and look at the autonomous artificial intelligence weapons being used to kill people. In fact, Palestine is currently being used as a testing ground for these autonomous killing machines. They are already making robot dogs with guns that looks like something out of Doctor Who, and China is developing some serious butt kickers for robots. which can jump, run, do a 360-degree rotation, and so much more. So if you think artificial intelligence is good, think again.